if we come together.
Oh, another group photo.
Sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ali, do you want to start with it?
D'accord, I'll introduce you first. Good morning and welcome to the press conference for The Apprentice in competition at the 77th Festival du Film de Cannes. It's a pleasure to introduce so many of the film's makers with us. There are a number of questions, so I'm going to be very brief in my introductions. I'll start at the other end of the table with producer Daniel Beckerman, who's given us such films as The Witch or The Witch. Next to him, Jacob Jarek. He also produced Ali Abbasi's first feature, Shelley, as well as Ali's 2022 competition entry, Holy Spider. Producer Jacob Jarek. Next to me, producer Louis Tisney. This is his third time in Cannes after Ali Abbasi's second feature, Borders, and Le Haute Montagne, which was in competition 2 years ago. Louis Tisney. Next to him, Amy Baer, executive producer and an originating producer. Her other credits include Jerry and Marge Go Large, Brian Banks, and Mary Shelley. IMDb relates that the films she supervised and produced have collectively taken in over $2 billion, but it doesn't mention if those are real dollars or Donald.
Where's that money, Amy?
Amy Baer. Next to her, the scriptwriter and producer, Gabe Sherman. Gabe's the author of the best-selling biography of Roger Ailes, The Loudest Voice. He also produced the TV series based on his book. Gabe Sherman. At the other end, in the role of Fred Trump, we've seen in such movies as Tenet and Blackberry and the series Big Little Lies, Martin Donovan. Maria Bakalova is the Oscar-nominated actress from Borat. Her performance also earned her nominations at the BAFTAs, Golden Globes, Critic Choice Awards, Screen Actors Guild, and a dozen of others nominations. In the role of Ivana Trump, Maria Bakalova. Sebastian Stan is the actor we know from the Marvel Universe. We've also seen him in Steven Soderbergh's Lucky Logan and as Tonya Harding's husband in I, Tonya. He took the Best Actor prize in Berlin this year in the role of Donald Trump. Sebastian Stan.
It was for a different role, but thank you. A different man, September 20th.
And this is his third film in official selection after Border, which won the Prix Un Certain Regard in 2018. The film was nominated for an Oscar for Best Makeup and Hair, which may have been useful in preparing for Donald Trump. He also brought us Holy Spider 2 years ago, which earned its actress, Zahra Amir Ebrahimi, Best Actress, and was nominated for an Academy Award. He also directed the final episodes of The Last of Us, producer and director Ali Abbasi. Amy, you mentioned that you had a statement.
You're going to read something from
Yeah.
our esteemed colleague.
Esteemed colleague, who's a method actor, doesn't want to leave his engagements. So this is a message from Jeremy Strong. You know, He really wanted to be here, obviously, but he is, as I said, committed to every single thing he does. And, you know, now his show on Broadway is a fantastic show. And he cannot simply leave the work. And I'm going to read it in my broken English. And if I have grammatical mistakes, you correct me. So here it goes. I deeply wish I could. This is great because they're really big. I deeply wish I could be there with you right now, but I'm on stage in New York doing Henrik Ibsen's play, An Enemy of the People. Enemy of the people is a phrase that has been used by Stalin, by Mao, by Goebbels, and most recently by Donald Trump when he denounces the free press and called CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, New York Times the fake news media, an enemy of the people. We're living in a world where truth is under assault, and in America, that assault on truth in many ways began in the malevolent paralysis of Donald Trump apprenticeship under Roy Cohn. Cohn was called an assault specialist by the National Law Journal, and this perilous moment in history we are experiencing Roy Cohn's long, dark shadow. His legacy of lies, of outright denialism, of manipulation, of flagrant disregard for truth has reached a terrible fruition. Ali Abbasi, wrongly written, but, you know. Ali Abbasi has made a monster movie where one gets the other. It's an attempt to understand, in the words of the 11th century Persian poet Omar Khayyam, how yesterday this day's madness did prepare. That's it. Thank you, Jeremy.
Doesn't get any better than that. We have so many questions. We're going to start on the right side.
Obviously, we are completely non-partisan, so, you know, that's Jeremy's own soul, you know, his own discretion.
Rodrigo Fonseca from Correio da Manhã, Rio de Janeiro. Question to Sebastian, 2 questions, in fact. I would like to hear you about the preparation for the role. And a second question. I don't know if you could use the word honor in related to Trump, but do you believe that he has a code of honor? What is this code?
Preparation, right? Well, it was sort of a 24/7 kind of immersion process of basically, I guess, living with him to some extent in my headphones and on my phone and YouTube and everywhere I was going and walking, whatever I was doing. If I was in the bathroom, I was listening to him. I don't know how else to do it, you know, except 100%, and that's what I tried to do in the limited time that we had. And, you know, he is a human being like everybody else. So I guess we all have certain codes and certain principles. It just depends on what they are. I guess it's relative to everybody.
Thank you. Question on the other side.
Maria Zdravej. Tuk. I'm from Bulgaria, Maria's home country. So I wanted to ask her, it's your second Trump movie. What was the feeling to be Ivana for the film and you to become the main East European in Hollywood? How do you feel?
Thank you so much for these kind words. I don't know how I'm feeling. I'm just feeling honored to be able to work and to work with great people, having legends like Ali and Sebastian and Martin and everybody on this table. It's just a privilege and an honor, and I just hope to do my best. I feel grateful to have a chance to portray a character like Ivana because the more I got to know about her, the more I fell in love with her. She's been a woman that has been way too much ahead of her time, and it's inspiring to see somebody pursuing their dreams, ambitions, driven by the idea of, I don't know, just achieving it. And I just got inspired. I honestly got inspired, and I think she has been a legend. Thanks.
Thank you. Madame, on the right side.
Hi, I'm Jada Yuan. I write for The Washington Post, and this question is for Sebastian and Ali. What did you learn about Donald Trump while making this movie that you think we can relate to the Trump that we know today? And can you also talk about the release schedule during the election and sort of what hope you have for the impact the film would have.
What did we learn?
What did you learn? I think that's up to you guys, to see the movie. I think that's the hope we have is that people watch the film, because I always feel like there is always something to learn. And I think for me, as an actor and standing next to this brave artist that I respect and I will follow wherever he goes, with all these people that had enough balls to do this project, that's what we have to do. We have to kind of take on things that are risky and perhaps uncomfortable to talk about, but I think it's important that we do, because like Ali said last night, it's in our face every day, and I think we need to have a perspective, or we need to just at least confront one another, hopefully in a peaceful way, about what is happening and what we're seeing. I think there's a lot to learn from the film.
Yeah, and we have a promotional event coming up called U.S. Election. It's going to help us with the movie. So we're hoping very much that it can come out. If I'm remembering right, the second debate's going to be in September 15th, something like that. So that's a good release date for us, I would say.
Fantastic. On the right. On the left, sorry.
Left. Jeffrey, yeah.
I just wanted to ask particularly Gabe and Ali about an amazing, for me, emotional moment when having known about Roy Cohn a good part of my life, and believing and understanding he's one of the most reprehensible human beings of the 20th century, arguably. And I just thought the movie does an amazing thing by actually making you feel sorry for him, empathy. And I was just, when Trump basically screws him over, and I was just wondering if you had sort of tried to build to that emotional moment, whether that was a key strategy on your part.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, to some extent, I think when I originally was having the idea for the script and doing the research that formed the foundation of the script, there were sort of several big hinge points in the film, and one definitely was when Donald kicks Roy's former lover Russell out of the hotel and sends him the bill for the bill, which is a true anecdote, and I just felt that was so encapsulating of the way Donald is so one way. He talks about loyalty, but it's only a one-way street with him, and so I wanted the movie to build to one of those moments, because if you can feel sympathy and empathy for Roy, who did so much damage and has continued to do damage to democracy and truth and the world we live in, it says something about Donald as well. So that was the idea.
There was this very famous press conference with a compatriot of mine, Lars Trier, here some years ago. And he was asked what he thought of. Somehow he ended up saying that he understands Adolf Hitler. And then it got worse and it got worse, and and nobody could save him. But there is some truth to that, in as so far that these are all human beings. The most despicable monster you can think of, the most reprehensible person in history, also liked the dog or fell for someone or was nice to somebody at some point, And I think that for me, this is, if there is an ideology for the movie, it's a humanist ideology. It is about taking these people who are icons, who are hated, loved, down to earth, and sort of deconstructing that mythological image into earthly human beings. With that comes understanding, with that comes sympathy, that doesn't necessarily mean you forgive everything they did, but it comes understanding and sympathy. And I think that is, you know, if there is a cathartic mission for a movie, that would be it, I think.
Fantastic, thank you. Yes, in the front.
Hi, Gunnar Elin from Sweden. It's all over the news today that the Trump organization is threatening with a lawsuit against the film. Could anyone sort of comment on that?
I mean, it's with you. You're the news. I'm the filmmaker, you know.
Are you scared of that?
I mean, everybody talks about him suing a lot of people. They don't talk about his success rate, though, you know.
We encourage them to actually see the film. Clearly, they haven't yet.
And also, I think it is, if I was him, I would be sitting in New Jersey, Florida, or wherever he is now, or New York, and I would thinking, oh, this like crazy Iranian guy and some like liberal cunts in Cannes, they gathered and they did this movie and it's like fucked up and, you know, it's like, you know, demeaning and it's a conspiracy. But as you say, I really think that I don't necessarily think that this is a movie that, you know, he would dislike. I don't necessarily think he would like it. I think that I think he would be surprised, you know? And you know, like I said before, like I would be happy. I would offer him to go and meet him wherever he wants and talk about the context of the movie, have a screening and have a chat afterwards, you know, if that's interesting for anyone, you know, of Trump campaign people here.
Question at the back on the left.
Steve Weintraub, Collider. Ali, I'm curious, I'm fascinated by the editing process, and I'm curious how this film changed in the editing room in ways you didn't expect going in.
Well, thank you for the question. You know, as a filmmaker, I am really a representative of a team, you know. I know it's a banal thing to say, but I am, you know, and I'm happy that you guys think that everything on the movie is me, but, you know, in reality, a lot of that and a lot of the sort of the thought process, a lot of the rhythm, a lot of the really important decisions are made in editing. I think, you know, I've had the, you know, as someone like, in a way, like if you grow up chubby and you know, then you lose weight and then, you know, every time you think about like eating food, you're like, okay, I was a chubby teenager, I have to eat less. Like I've been hearing so much that I make like slow movies with deliberate pacing. And I was like, now I'm gonna make a fucking fast movie, you know? You know, and I have to. And I think it's in the nature of this movie, in the manic nature of this character and this world and universe, it has to have that manic pace. It has to feel short, hopefully. So it was a lot of that, a lot of the music choices, a lot of those moments were created in the edit, because the way we worked on set was, you know, we didn't want to necessarily commit to a certain specific timing or certain specific way of doing things. We'd rather wanted to do 5 different versions with, and that means that you get into those, you know, with those decisions and make them in the editing. So that was an extremely important. And here I appeal to all the producers and financiers out there. The silent movie era is over. Nobody is editing movie in 12 weeks anymore. Stop putting that in budget. Start at 30, 35, and then we can talk.
I don't think you had 35 weeks, though.
But actually, there's one thing we should mention, which is, you want to talk about Olivia and Olivier? We had 2 editors, because the way that Ali and Casper were shooting, there was probably double or 3 times the amount of footage that you normally have. So Olivia, who is Ali's editor since Shelley, right, since the beginning, then we added another editor, Olivier Buguécouté, who works with Joachim Trier, and it was a beautiful collaboration.
Yeah, because in a way, like what I love to do in the editing is like a debate, you know, and therefore I think, bless you, I think it's a good idea to have more than 2 people, you know, because then you can discuss ideas and then you can sort of, you know, have a debate instead of being about taste. I think that's the most important thing for me. I try to get out of my own taste when I make movies.
Thank you. On the left. Oh, sorry.
Hi, Shireen Sharif from BBC World Service. Congratulations on the movie, a great film. And Sebastian, it was amazing performance. My question is for Ali. So it's your first English feature film. And most of the stories before were linked to what we say is your concerns that came with you from your background.
Sorry, my what?
Concerns, like...
Concerns, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Issues that you are interested to actually expose or to highlight from your country, from your previous life or whatever. But with this film, if we see it separately, by itself, it's a completely different strategy. In one of your interviews after the film, you said, I did this film to be closer to the present, to what is happening now. And you linked this film to the current war in Ukraine and current war in Gaza. So would this or can we read this as another way of linking the disasters and the wars we have now with corruption in the American society that caused by that, or it's too deep reading that it's overwhelming your idea?
That would be too metaphorical, I guess. That would be too metaphorical.
Thank you. Question on the left.
Добрый день, Мария Бакалова. Аз Мураз Кирибаев, журналист от Казахстан. Завершил съм университет в България, затова много се радвам да те видя, Мария, в такъв филм. Поздравления за ролята. Now in English. My name is Muraz Kiribayev. I'm really happy that Maria Bakalova beautifully reprised such a role in Ali Abbasi's movie. And my question goes to her. How did you get this role, first of all? How easy was it? And if you could speak a little more in detail about being an Eastern European who made it in Hollywood, and whether you or other representatives from this region get typecasted today in the industry, or now this is slowly getting to an end. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you. It's really nice to hear a language that you know. I don't know where to start. I have to say that the first time that I got the chance to read something about the script I read in the same day, same hour, I think, and I saw Ali Abbasi attached. He's going to be directing, and I love his work. I love his work since Shelley, Border, Holy Spider, everything. You're such a visionary director, so I was like, I'm able to be auditioning as many times as possible to be getting this role. And I remember I was shooting a movie in New York and quickly asked my hair and makeup people to put a little bit of a makeup, a little bit of a hairstyle, and try to get in the shoes of this lady that I didn't really know a lot about. And I took a few pictures, and I wasn't required to do something like a self-tape or anything at this point, but I just recorded something, improvised, and I asked my manager, can you please send this? Can you please send this? And she sent it, and then I started the auditioning process, and it's been just wonderful to have a chance to collaborate while auditioning, because I remember you were guiding me and giving me different notes and directions and trying this and that, because it's important, especially playing a real human being. You want to play them with depth and dignity, of course, with good and bad sides, but you want to play the right person. So it was an auditioning process. I was lucky enough to have a chance to be a part of this auditioning process because, as you know, it's still unfortunately rare to get a chance to even audition if you're coming from that region of the world, from Eastern Europe. And that's my dream, to just bring more chances and opportunities for people like us, because I grew up not really recognizing myself on screen, and ever since this wild journey with me going through similarly like Ivana, to the United States, the land of freedom and opportunity happen, I just wish to shine light on people from my region of the world and try to bring chances and expand the collaboration between the Eastern and the Western side. Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you.
So thank you to Ali, to Amy, to everybody here to have a chance to be here today.
I'd like to ask two other actors. There's so much visual material of the real characters on YouTube everywhere. Is that a help or is it limiting as an actor in preparing?
For me, it was a huge help because Fred's not, he's not an iconic figure like Donald, and so I think most people wouldn't have known who he was or what he looked like or what his mannerisms were. But actually, the production found a video of him accepting an award in New York City, and it's about a 5-minute speech. And I just played that over and over and over and over again, and picked up on his rhythms, and went from there.
Stan.
Yeah, I mean, it was the Rona Barrett 1 hour or something interview that I found online, and I watched that incessantly. I mean, but for me, it was kind of actually I had to distance myself from a lot of the stuff from today, and really go back to, and we were lucky in the sense that there's a lot out there to sort of see and watch and read, and a lot of interviews that he gave in that time, archives in New York Times and the New York Magazine and the first cover he got and all that. So it was a huge help.
Thank you.
It's also a interesting time because it feels like, these characters, they have like 4 different lives, I think that's what's interesting about the man, the character, the legend, the politician, Donald Trump is, if you look at his developments in every decade, it's a different person. It's a different person. And that's why I think what Sebastian has done, what Jeremy has done, Maria has done, what Martin has done, it's so remarkable because it's like you have to, it's not as simple as, oh, you see a YouTube video and you say, oh, there's a guy, like, I'm doing my way. You have to pick that moment in time which fits to this moment in time where we're doing things, and you have to adapt that. And, in your case, I think, it's really crazy because, there are a million ways of doing this guy, and 900,099 whatever would end up in Saturday Night Live probably. And I still don't know, and I hope that you agree with me. I don't feel we're there, and I still don't know how we didn't get there. Because it's so easy. It's so easy to try to find that essence. But you find yourself on the other side of that invisible line where, you're outside of the character. And I think if anything, and that's also why I genuinely think that, Donald's team, they should wait before they watch the movie, before start suing us, because I think once you're inside that character, it feels different, and we're inside that character.
Great. Question on the right. Yep, Madame.
Hello, Nana from Danish newspaper Politiken. Ali Abbasi. Why did you, as a Danish-Iranian filmmaker, decide to make such a partisan contribution to the American election right now?
Partisan? I mean, look, I have to say one thing to start with. I don't want to compare in kind, but when my big idol Luis Buñuel would come here, people wouldn't say, "Oh, the Spanish filmmaker lived in Mexico, did a French movie." It's like Luis Buñuel is here, And I'm like, Ali Abbasi is here, you know? So you know, I think in that way, next time I'm gonna go to Japan, you know, it's like, again, he's up there. It's not to compare, but my point being that I don't think that for me there's a linear journey to, okay, let's address things in Iran and then in Denmark, and now it went well, now go abroad, you know? But at least for me, and I think you touched upon it a little bit, and I, you know, spoke about it a little bit last night, I think that in the past, you know, 5, 6 years, or, you know, some years, my optimism about the world has faded. You know, my optimism about, oh, we're gonna, against all odds, be able to, you know, whatever, like accomplish the humanistic project and whatnot. And I've been increasingly frustrated by my colleagues, by myself, because I feel like we're like, you know, becoming too, you know, navel-gazing, you know, and becoming too like inward-looking. And like I said, it's safer, it's nice, it feels better to you know, push out those distractions and say like those wars and political debates and stuff, they come and go, and the corrupt politicians come and go, and they don't concern me, but they do concern us, you know, they do concern us. And when we go out, there is a vacuum there, which is, you know, which is filled by, you know, Chinese government propaganda movies, Iranian government propaganda movies, or Pentagon entertainment arm. You know what I mean? It's and it's messy. It's not, you know, necessarily, you know, the art with the big A, the way I want it, which was my playing field. So now I'm playing in their playing field. But I do think it's important that someone does it, you know, and I hope that someone else does it too, you know.
Hello, it's Yannis Raouzeos from Greece, from myfilm.gr. I'd like to address a question about the general pressures that you faced behind the curtains. At the moment now, we have a strong political situation that brings a new election in US, and this kind of film must create a great pressure on you. And also, I would like to know about the role of photography in your film. You changed the format of photography from the 70s to 80s and 90s. Does it have to do with all the thing with the characters changing? But I would definitely like to hear about the role of photography. And Mr. Donovan, how much this esoteric approach on your role was a general choice of you, the dramatic, silent almost approach on your role? Thank you.
I'm not quite sure I understand the question. I worked, you know, I found the video, because there's very little video of him being interviewed, but there was that one speech I found. So I worked on that, but honestly, I was not born into his class, but I know I was raised around people who think like him. And we did a lot of improv, and it didn't make it into the film, but I did a lot of riffing where I was channeling the people I knew growing up. And I know I know the terminology they use. I know, I was around racists, you know. I know how those people think. And so I was really channeling a lot of people I grew up with around. And it actually was frighteningly easy to access. You know, I see Fred as not a one-off in terms of his views. I think his whole worldview is endemic to, you know, the white ruling class, basically, around the world. I mean, that's how those people view the world. And so that's really, I hope that answers your question.
I'll just jump in real quick on the pressures of making this film, because when I first came up with the idea for the film 7 years ago, I heard so many voices in Hollywood from powerful people saying, "Oh, this movie will never be made," or "Who wants to watch a movie about Donald Trump?" And it took a fearless producer, and Amy, who saw the potential of this idea and commissioned the script, and then a brave artist like Ali to come on to direct and develop the movie. And it takes those people who are kind of fearless and a little bit crazy to do the thing that everybody says you shouldn't be doing. I had a very powerful Hollywood executive say, "Well, if Trump loses, maybe we'll think about it." I think if people talk about Hollywood being this, quote, liberal place, but it's actually, making a film like this is very challenging, because Hollywood in many ways doesn't want to rock certain boats. And so I just feel so lucky to, get to write something and then find people, brave enough to actually want to go do it.
And I just want to point out that Hollywood didn't make this movie. It's actually a co-production between Canada,
exactly.
Denmark, and Ireland.
We couldn't make it in the American system.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what WGA thinks, it's not an American movie. It's not.
Do you want to say something? No. And Ali, the question about the look of the film, the changing look of the film.
Oh, yeah, so last night at 4:30, I was in my bed reading some of the reviews, and someone said, it looks like a shitty TV movie. And I was like, you got it. It was the idea, actually, because, we were, from the beginning, very interested in embedding the archival footage from the time. And, the concept of reality in movies is so complicated, yet often it's being always so flattened. And I think now, finally, I don't know, maybe in the past 20 years, we have a real debate about what's real, what's not, in a very extreme way with, deep fake and whatnot. But the language of reality, as we know it, as we knew it, actually came from those archival footage. They came from the way they would shoot the newsreels in the 70s and the 80s, where things got a bit more digital and mechanical and sharp. And also, I think there is a sort of a story development that makes sense for us, because the first half of the movie, Donald is in learning. Things are in a way bright, or the trajectory upwards. This is the same inverted V shape that Paul Thomas Anderson and Stanley Kubrick use as well. It's this up and then down. And the up is 70s, and it's shot on 16, and it's grainy and feels good. And then the down is on video, and it feels shitty, and it should be that.
And a lot of that look.
We have a question on the right. Yes.
Here. My name is Hussam Fahmi, a film critic from Egypt. I have two parts of the question. First, for Sebastian, maybe you can tell us more how you play Donald Trump without sound like Saturday Night Live character, too cartoonic, like how you will be able to do it in a more humanistic way. And for Ali, many people in the world are also pessimistic about the present and the future of the world like you. Do you think you will be able one day, or you would like to do one day also a movie about the monstrous evil side also of Joe Biden, or not?
The sequel.
Sorry, but the last part of your question?
Would you like to do one day a movie about the evil side of Joe Biden also, or not?
You can cast Martin. If you want to play Joe Biden.
Oh, me? Oh, yeah.
The evil side of Joe Biden.
You asked me that?
I just volunteered you, but.
Oh, thank you. I'm not old enough.
Well, it started with the script, and that's what was fascinating, was reading the script, and for me, so much that I didn't know. and so much that I was surprised by when I first read it in terms of the journey. And of course, you know, there's an elephant in the room in your head about the person you think you know or you've seen. And but once you got beyond that, you know, just going back to the beginning and trying to trace things back to the military academy and sort of how he grew up, a lot of things seem to make sense.
You know, I'm happy actually you asked that question because, you know, I can clarify on something. You know, this is really not a movie about Donald Trump. This is a movie about a system. This is a movie about a system and the way the system works and the way system is built and the way the power runs through the system. And then, you know, Roy Cohn, he was an expert in using that system, utilizing that system, and, you know, he taught Donald Trump. There are many other people, you know, it would be you know, my life would not allow me to, you know, do biopics of every single one of them. But also, I think it's important to look at it this way. You know, this whole, at least seeing from my side, you know, from my, like the Iranian side or whatever you would call it, the idea that there is a very sharp divide in the United States between conservatives and liberals, I think it's a fantasy. You know, I think a lot of these people, they go to the same charity events, they go to the same galas, they went to the same schools. You know, they're you know, it's like, suffice to say, the guy who created MSNBC in 1993 created Fox News in 1996. That's the structure you're dealing with, and you know, I think Kurt Vonnegut said it very well. You know, there are two parties in the United States: the parties of winners and the party of losers. So I don't think we need to do a movie about every winner and every loser, you know, but there you have one.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm afraid our time is up. Thank you for the film.